Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of HB Keeping Up With Me. I think probably the reverse. But anyway, this week has been kind of eventful, but not eventful. Where do we start? Last weekend, we had a really fun weekend. Actually, we went back to WTR. So for anyone in Tampa, please just go to water. It's so much fun. Like, the music is way loud. It's really fun. Like, if anyone likes dancing, this is the place. So we actually caught up with a few of our, I guess, new friends or acquaintances who train at our local gym. So that was really cool. I just got to meet some like-minded people, which was really fun. And definitely had a few drinks. It was such a beautiful day. On a business front this week, we finally restocked our supplement lines. So Outwork Nutrition has just sold out after sellout after sellout. So last week we had a small batch kind of released. We've just had a really hard time sourcing all of our products at the moment. And then I think with COVID, lack of staff, you know, it's the shipping docks and things, like just moving all of the product around. It's been crazy to try and even get like our stuff together. We had our biggest issue just getting our plastic supplies. So to make the bottles, because of the big freeze that happened in Texas several weeks ago, that really interfered with plastic bottle manufacturing. So we have had to like change our suppliers and then try and find, like, we've got a little bit of stock from this company and a bit of stock from that company. So it's just been really hard to like keep the momentum with all of the supply chain issues. So we finally had a restock, I think like 10,000 units or something on Monday. And I have a feeling it's now Friday, we're almost out again, which is just crazy. So what I'm most excited about though is our new flavors. So if you guys are using Outwork's pre-workout or our recovery product, we have a couple of new surprise flavors coming out very soon, which I think that they are our best flavors yet, personally, but maybe I'm biased. And then we also have a couple of new products that we'll be releasing probably by the end of the year, which is really exciting. One of them is a product that I use every day. So I get to kind of head up to Orlando in a few weeks and do some of the tasting and make sure that the formulation is good. And that is like my baby. So I'm very excited about that. So that's all coming. By the way, guys, if you want to check out any of those links, you can just go and look at the description. We've got Outwork's link down there, etc., etc. And then really, it's been a pretty good, steady week. This past week, I started a new training program. So every 6 weeks, it always like sneaks up on me. I get to like the end of my 6th week and I'm like, oh, I've got to write a new program. Oh my God. So I spent a good amount of time just looking for some new inspiration and going back over some of my old training programs as well, and just seeing what I haven't done in a while. Like, oh yeah, you remember this? That was really good. So I've reincorporated several exercises that I haven't done in at least a year, if not years, and just some new variations that I'd completely forgotten about. That was really fun and also incredibly painful. So for anyone that has started a new program and you've got a bunch of exercises that you've not done before, if there are any differences in like muscle group use, you know, even if it's a lower body session, like you may slightly target a different muscle. It might be a little bit more focused on the adductor, or it might be your, I don't know, it gets your calves more, or whatever the case. Every single exercise this week, I have just like been walking around like I am a cripple. Speaking of cripple, the deadlifts that I reintroduced. I haven't pulled sumo for a long time. I think I've always had a bit of an issue with my hips. And again, it's nothing that I think I can truly avoid without serious like rehab and recovery, just because of how I am built. I have such an anterior tilt. And I have such a lordosis as a result of that. I have really, really, really short baby arms. So for me to like deadlift, I'm basically like, if you're looking at someone's spine, like this, just say this is someone's leg and that's their knee and this is their back. Like normally when you deadlift, you might be in this position and then you like straighten up, like you go tall. For me, I'm positioned like this, just to get my arms down to like reach the hand, like the barbell. So unfortunately for me, what that means is that I do have a lot of like I guess, lower back use as opposed to, you know, my quads. If I was doing a trap bar deadlift, there's a little bit more quad activation in your trap bar. So yeah, I'm in a world of pain this week and it ain't much fun. So I think as much as my ego wants me to do more sumo pulling next week and go for it again, I think we've got programmed sixes. So, you know, it's sumo six reps. I think I'm probably going to switch back to trap bar because just the amount of like recovery that I need for that specific exercise, it's crazy. Or I have to like drastically back down the overall load. And unfortunately, like my legs are still really strong. It's just that they just don't get the use because my back ends up taking over. So I'm just like, I think I need to be real with like my training programming at the moment. And like, you know, I want to be able to function. I still want to be able to feel good. So what can I do that's going to, you know, be challenging? Like what are my compound lifts that I'm going to do? But what doesn't leave me like really sore in areas that I don't want to be sore in. So I think I'm going to switch it to trap bar next week. But that's been a whole lot of fun. I'm just playing around with some new variations. So I can't wait to share that. I will probably put up a couple of those workouts on my Instagram in a few days' time. Nutrition front, been pretty good. I know that I'm not going to be compliant again this week. And I think that's important for me to do. I think if I look at my history, and again, I know I talk about competing quite a bit, but like that's my reality. Like that's what I have come from, and my entire like adolescent, you know, young adult life. There has been so many rules, so many restrictions, so much self-discipline, so much saying no, and not honoring my internal hunger cues or my satiety cues. So like in weeks where I have something that I want to eat, like I really try to be like kind to myself in those moments and be like, you've suffered for enough. Like you had 15 years of no, like it's time to say yes. So this week's been pretty good actually. I have really truthfully enjoyed just having, you know, stuff that I haven't had in years, just different random cereals, just different foods. Like I'll still do like homemade food, but just things that I wouldn't have previously cooked. So like Indian food, which is like heavy cream, lots of oil, you know, fattier cuts of meat, or like a Thai dish with like the fully loaded coconut cream, which, you know, I'd always make like 17,000, you know, substitutions. And then I'm like, you know what? I think I might have that. It's just one meal. I'll work it out. So I have pushed myself beyond my comfort this week. But it's also the push that I know I need to continue to progress. So let's go and have a look at my check-in for the week because it's not going to be compliant. Okay, so checking in with trusty old Carbon. Was I compliant to my macro targets this week? Well, you can see there the range was 1691 to 1773. And my tracked average was 1883. So I'm a little bit high on my on my calories, but not crazy compared to previous weeks. I'd say I kind of just, you know, intuitively ate. I always try to hit my protein, but I just really try to be flexible with everything else. So you can see that my protein always high, a little bit over 156 was my actual tracked average. And then my carbs was a little bit over by 16 grams. And then my fats was at 52 and the range was 47 to 49. So not crazy this week, but still it's not compliant. And you will see what happens here with my weight. Oh, look at that, 68.7. So my upper end of my allowable range for weight maintenance, because I'm using the maintenance setting, is 68.5. So me just eating a few calories more, 150 or so over my allowable, saw my weight go up just a little bit. So again, it's not a crazy shift in my weight, and I'm really kind of enjoying like allowing myself to have that degree of fluctuation. I think previously if I like moved out of a set number, it was like, I've gone from this to this, it's a new number. I don't know if I like that. So I have truly enjoyed the challenge of like making sure that I'm good with that flux. A lot of y'all have said like, oh, Holly, your maintenance calories are so low. What are you gonna do about it? I don't think I'm ready to start a reverse yet. And I know that if I do this, I need to commit to that process. I'd love to get my maintenance calories up just a little bit higher because right now they probably are sitting at about 1800. And you know, when I overeat by 150 calories like I did this week, my weight tinkles up by a couple 100 grams. It's nothing crazy, but I would like to have more food flexibility. So I think when I am ready to commit to that process, because right now, like my nutrition and my like macros, it's not my main concern. Like my concern is like business, family, like just getting things done. And my body composition is truly like third down that list of important things in my life. So yeah, a few people were like, oh, why don't you just reverse? And I'm like, well, that requires like attention. It still requires focus. If you're going to commit to something like that, you know, it needs to be conservative, especially if you're trying to do it just with the goal of trying to get your calories up, but minimizing like body composition change. So I do need to be pretty dead on. I have to be willing to commit to a small increase each week to kind of minimize like unnecessary or bigger changes in my weight and my metabolism can handle. I'm not sure that I have the time to do that at the moment. It's just not a priority, but I know that I will soon. I would like to kind of get them back up to just over 2100 if I can, with no minimal change to my body composition. And I think I can do that. But like I said, I need to be able to apply focus to that. And it's not the worst thing at the moment. Like I've eaten many thousands of calories lower in my life. So yeah, they could be better, sure, but it's also like I am a very good cook. I like the foods that I'm currently eating, and it doesn't bother me if I sneak over a little bit here or there. So to answer the question for the 1,000 odd people that were like, why don't you change your calories? Why don't you reverse? That's my answer. I am looking forward to that. I'll be excited to kind of go through that reverse diet process with you using carbon. But I know there are a lot of you guys out there that are already doing a reverse using carbon diet coach. So if you've got any feedback, if you would like to talk about how your process is going, you are more than welcome to leave me a comment here. I usually go down and respond to you guys. So I'll be excited to hear your experiences and if you've got any questions for me about that. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. I know this week wasn't a super crazy update and there wasn't a lot with carbon this week, but that's kind of where I'm at. I've done the hard work. I've done a lot of work for that matter. And it's nice to finally be in a position where I'm like, I'm good with, like, I've got the muscle. That's great. I don't really need any major changes. My calories aren't the worst. Yeah, they could be better, but I'm kind of just fine, you know, meandering between this little bit of a range. So it's not really a position I've ever been in my life before. I've always had a hardcore physique goal or something that I'm working on. So this is good for me. So anyway, I'll stop talking. Have a great week. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and go and check out all of my other educational videos. And I will see you hopefully at my next check-in.